Hello lovely viewers, you are most welcome to our channel Poetry Online. In this video, we shall be presenting to you the summary, analysis, major themes and characters of the book Kongi's Harvest by Wole Soyinka. Kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get updates on all our new videos. Once again, let us assure you of a very interesting discussion. Get ready for this lesson. Akinwande Olowi Wole Soyinka was born on 13 July 1934. He is a Nigerian writer, poet, and playwright. He won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1986, the first African to be so honored. In 1994, he was designated UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for Promotion of African Culture, Human Rights, Freedom of Expression, Media, and Communication. After graduating in 1958, he founded an acting company. Soyinka directs his own plays and performance. His decade of political activism included periods of imprisonment and exile. Wole Soyinka was the first African writer to be awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1986. In all, he has published 27 plays, 2 novels, 3 short story collections, 5 memoirs, 12 anthologies of essays, 3 screenplays, and 2 translations. His plays are called protest plays since they oppose autocratic power of all kinds. His play, Kongi's Harvest, published in 1965, is set in post-independent Nigeria. It revolves around the character of Kongi, a modern dictator of an imaginary African country called Isma. Kongi has usurped the power of a traditional ruler, Lola, who along with his wives and advisor is imprisoned. Kongi tries to use the traditional harvest festival to establish the legitimacy of his rule. However, his attempts ends in chaos and the play ends with everyone fleeing the country, fearing the reprisal of the dictator. Although Kongi's character is said to have been influenced or inspired by 2 African politicians of the time, Wole Soyinka's satire on modern dictators has a much wider relevance. The new dictator of the Republic of Isma, Kongi, has taken over power by force from the traditional ruler and has imprisoned him. The traditional rulers, though critical about Kongi's rule, are not in a position to retaliate. The people of Isma have a tradition of celebrating a harvest festival at which the best yam produced by the farmers is awarded as a prize to the chief. The prize yam is then offered to the king in a show of acceptance of his rule. Kongi now plans to use this traditional festival to establish his rule. He wants the traditional ruler Oba to hand over the prize yam to him to symbolize a peaceful transition from a traditional ruler to a modern one. What happens to this plan forms the plot of the play. Let's now discuss the structure of the play. The play has 4 sections: Hemlock, the first part, the second part, and Hangover. We are going to discuss them one after the other, starting with Hemlock. This is the opening scene of the play. It starts with a rolling of drums and the playing of the national anthem, prompting the audience to stand up. When the curtains goes up, the audience sees the traditional ruler, Lola, and his people with a retinue of musicians in a jail. They now sing the parody of the national anthem. The juxtaposition of a national anthem of a new nation and the traditional ruler in jail sets the tone for the play. Hemlock is a poisonous conifer. The scene in front of the audience is far from poisonous. It is of a group of people who are singing and dancing to music. They are showing their dissent to the governance of the present dictator through a song. The group is reprimanded by the jail superintendent. Lola continues singing, supported by Sarumi, the younger Oba. The songs are a satire on the political situation of Nigeria. The superintendent finds the Nigerian national flag wrapped around Lola and quickly pulls it away in horror. Lola being the traditional ruler of the clan, and the superintendent, being a younger man, makes fun of him in a genial way. The jail superintendent respects the Oba but has to obey the dictator. The elders, through their dialogue with the superintendent, inform the audience about the harmony their order has with nature. The true essence of symbiosis between the traditional rule and nature, as opposed to the exploitative policies of the colonial power, is reminded to the viewers. Sarumi says, "We lift the king's umbrella higher than men, but it never pushes the sun in the face." This part of the play ends with a clear depiction of the colonial power and the host country as a child and a mother respectively. Soon, the head swelled too big for a pillow, and it swelled too big for the mother's back, and soon the mother's head was nowhere to be seen, and the child's light belly was strangely distended. Let's now take a summary of the first part of the play. The first part opens in Kongi's palace, a retreat in the mountain with its own Aweri, who, unlike the traditional king's advisors, are now fashionably called Reformed Aweri Fraternity. The dialogues of the second part of the play, we need an image which is repeated 5 times. All of them accept the statement at its face value and try their best to come up with an answer. They neither question nor debate the need for an image. They try to create an image of Kongi which makes him more acceptable to the people. One interesting option is that one of the idyllic image of a youthful leader, children handing the patriarch his pipe at evening, crouching at his feet to sip raindrops of wisdom. The discussion almost ends nonsensically. As they say, if the square of SQY 2AB equals AQ into the square root of x, then the progressive forces must prevail over the reactionary in the span of 32 of a single generation. They define the aims of organizing the Yam Festival as to replace the old superstitious festival by a state ceremony governed by principle of enlightened ritualism. The scene now shifts to the club owned by Segi. Daudu and Segi are dancing when Kongi's secretary and his spies enter the club. Kongi's secretary befriends Daudu and tries to pry information out of him about his uncle, the imprisoned traditional ruler. The secretary wants to tie up all loose ends so that the harvest festival is organizing should go on smoothly. In spite of the secretary's repeated requests through all possible channels, including through Daudu, the secretary is not sure that Obada and Lola will surrender amicably before Kongi. The scene moves to Kongi and his Aweri, who along with him are fasting before the festival. The feverish discussion about the upcoming festival continues. The secretary is bribed by Kongi's Aweri into bringing them food. In return, they suggest a way out of the standoff between Kongi and Obada and Lola. Kongi is to be persuaded to issue the release of all political prisoners if the Oba and his loyalists agree to surrender before him the next day at the festival. Kongi agrees to the plan. Meanwhile, news comes that one of the imprisoned men has died by hanging himself, and another man, who is Segi's father, has escaped from the prison. Kongi becomes infuriated and calls back the release of the prisoners. Let's now move to the second part of the play. The day of the harvest festival, Obada and Lola comes back to his palace and is very excited to dress up for the festival. We now understand that the remaining 3 prisoners were released as an agreement to surrender before Kongi. That Lola demands a new robe, a headgear, and a sword. Then they, Obada and Lola's servant, runs all the errands the king demands. Daudu is to represent Obada and Lola and his Aweri and hand over the yam to Kongi as a token of appreciation for the release of the prisoners. Daudu asks Obada and Lola not to come to the festival, fearing the disruption of peace. Obad and Lola insist on his presence. Daudu is then told that a search is going on for the escaped prisoner, Segi's father, to bring him back dead or alive. The much discussed and planned harvest festival begins. The secretary, who knows that Segi has been Kongi's lover once, is shocked to find her as part of the dance group. He does not want anything to disturb the proceedings. He wants her to leave, but she doesn't. Dende, Obad and Lola's servant, joins the carpenter's brigade. Kongi, being the carpenter of the country, and the brigade are those who will help him with his mission. During the dance, loud gunfire is heard. An assassination attempt is made by Segi's father, the escaped prisoner, on Kongi. Daudu and Segi learn that Segi's father is hunted and killed. They learn about it under the watchful eye of Kongi, who is waiting to see Segi, his former lover, break down. Segi does not show emotions, whispers to Daudu, walks away from the dance to return with her father's head and present it to Kongi as a new yam. Kongi is shocked and terrified on seeing the decapitated head of an elder in front of the whole crowd gathered there. A traditional symbol of offering the best yam to the clan leader in a show of harmony has now turned into a cannibalistic symbol when instead of a yam, Segi's father's head is offered in a copper salver. Let's now move to the last part of the play, called Hangover. The last part of the play opens at Kongi Square, littered with debris from the Harvest Festival and the panic that followed. The secretary and Dende can be seen on stage, both of them weary and looking lost. The secretary uses his authority to take away some of Dende's things. Obad and Lola walks upon them, carrying his possession, ready to leave the place. The civil unrest upsets Kongi's plan to take over the Republic of Isma in harmony from the older order. The sufferers are all the three sects, the traditional rulers, common people, and Kongi staff. The last scene has all of them fleeing the country, hating at the alliance against Kongi in another country. Wole Soyinka offers no easy solution to the problem created by colonialism and continuing in neo-colonial states. Let's now discuss the major theme of the play. One of the major themes in Kongi's Harvest is a clash between modernity and traditional forces. Obad and Lola represent the traditional head, and Kongi represents modernist and constitutional rulers, and his modern dictatorship strives to absorb and destroy traditional rule as a contending power, as well as capture its legitimacy, dignity, appeal, and power. This is manifested in the role of drums and the anthem and hemlock, showing the two opposing camps fighting for supremacy. Let's now discuss the major characters in the play, starting with President Kongi. President Kongi is seen in the text as an absolute dictator who does not pay any attention to his subjects. He is identified as one who loves to hear his subjects affirming his superior position in society. Kongi has a strong flame for slogans because he sees it as a constant boost and continuous stay in power. Further utterances shows that Kongi is one who is vainglorious. He is glorified in being raised to the status of Christ, and also he is revealed as a character who loves ceremonies. He attempts to reverse the old order, where the new yam should be eaten first by the Oba, even after the erection of a pulpit against him by Daudu at the New Yam Festival. The Secretary. The Secretary is portrayed as a clever character who loves slogans. He is self-seeking and diplomatic. His cleverness is evident in the way he handles situations. He has a feeling that something is bound to go wrong. When he senses that things are not going as smoothly as planned, he promptly goes into hiding to save himself. The secretary's love for slogan is exposed through dialogues. On various occasions, he is seen manufacturing slogans and showering praises on kongi. He coins a popular one, Ishmael is might. As a self-seeking character, he claims that most of the ideas he gets from others are his. All in all, utterances reveal that the secretary is a character who is clever, self-seeking and diplomatic, and one who has a flair for slogans and phrases. Dan Lola. Dan Lola is revealed as a traditionalist. He is witty, strong-willed, and uncompromising. His speech, which is characterized by traditional elements like proverbs, parables, and allusions to Yoruba myths, portrays him as a traditionalist. Almost every utterance of his is characterized by traditional elements. He makes allusions to traditional institutions, objects, and events, and not to the modern. He is a custodian of the traditional political institution. Hence, he refuses to surrender his power to Kongi, who is a modernist. He sees progress in tradition because it is jointly operated by all members of the society, as opposed to Kongi's dictatorship. Daudu. Daudu is diplomatic, courageous, learned, and determined. With diplomatic language, he is able to extract information he wants from the secretary. He acts as if he is in the secretary's camp and succeeds in getting the news that they were planning to have him arrested because he was considered a threat to Kongi's government. Daudu pretentiously takes sides with the secretary and agrees to help him in convincing his uncle, Obadan Lola, to openly present the yam to Kongi at the ceremony the next day. This quality of Daudu enables him to get to know more about the other camp. With this, he is able to plan how to confront Kongi. Segi. Segi is portrayed as a character who is mysteriously powerful, clever, and receptive. Throughout the play, she is shrouded in mystery. Even Obadan Lola does not understand her until he is told that she is the daughter of the prisoner who has first escaped. The Song of Daudu describes Segi as one with mysterious powers. She is portrayed as a sex goddess with irresistible features, yet as dangerous as a poisonous snake. Segi appears to other characters as one who is not in this world. She seems to them to possess some qualities that are supernatural. She is seen as a sex symbol, endowed with features that attract men to her. After all, even apparently, a sexual kongi used to be her boyfriend. Thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.